On the topic of you and Kim, I am very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry because I know that it can be a lot to navigate the feelings that you have just about like loving someone and wanting to be with a person and like them being your best friend, but also like navigating the fact that they just are not being who you need them to be in that moment. So I'm really sorry that you have to navigate that and that that's something that you're dealing with. But I'm also proud of you for like knowing what you need and wanting to grow for that and not settling for less. Even like not continuing the cycle, knowing that this is a person that you love, acknowledging that, but knowing that they're not what you need in this moment. I think that's a really great thing. And I'm really proud of you for seeing that, acknowledging that, and taking the steps that you needed in the time that you needed to do that and acknowledge that.
I'm so proud of you. I love you so, so much. I think that's very normal. Glad you cried. Glad you felt something. Glad you're not holding it in. And I just think that you should just become the best version of yourself and not because of it being a break or because of, him or anything. Like, I just think you should just become so fucking hot, so smart, so poured into all the things that you already do and just enjoy life. And I think that whatever happens is what's going to happen. And I don't know you to be the person that's going to sit down and cry for 6 months, but I just do think that you should lock in on your life. I want both of you to be happy, but obviously more than anything, I want you to be happy. I trust your judgment so much, and you trust your judgment, and I know you do. So I know that you made this decision knowing it's what was best for you. So that's how I know, you'll be fine. This will all be fine. Go trace your dreams.
I think you should rejoice today because this is as hard as it's going to get. And I truly believe that you are your best judge. Like if you feel like you made the right decision, that's all that matters. If you feel in your heart that you made a decision that's better for the woman that you're going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, then that's all that matters. So I just want you to rejoice, and I want to speak that light into you because you're so deserving, you're so amazing, and you're your best judge of character.
Hey, my name is Kendall Hart. Welcome back to another video. I would say vlog, but this video is gonna be like a little bit of a different style that I haven't done before. I really just want this to be vulnerable and transparent and just kind of speak to some of the women that may be navigating something similar and that will really resonate and find comfort and strength in the words that I'm about to say to y'all. And I'm gonna be giving y'all a little dip into my business, okay? But before we get into all of that, y'all could probably tell by the title what we're about to get into. But if you are new here, welcome. This is like a little bit of a serious, deep video, so actually click off and go watch a fun vlog and then meet us back here. I'm just kidding, but I'm still happy to have you. Typically, we post career, lifestyle, fun, travel, all of the things. I am a 25-year-old engineer living in Houston. We're just trying to live life to the fullest, praise God while we're doing it, make some money, have a good time, and yeah, that's what this is all about. If y'all are returning subscribers, girl, you know me. I love you. I missed you. Welcome. Let's get into it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get into it. So I did a video on TikTok that is now at 2 million views. I still like, y'all know when people say, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that to go viral, and it's like, yeah, you did. I expected that to do numbers because it's like anything about a man or boyfriend or drama, whatever, people will like it, but I didn't expect it to be that much of a viral video. Like, I'm still shocked, like, damn. And just the outpour of support and people that have been telling me like it resonated with them, and people sharing their stories, and then girls will start comment threads and then finding comfort in like what somebody else said in the comments. It's just been really beautiful. However, that was a 5-minute video. I feel like I said a lot without saying a lot. This, I'm still gonna say a lot without saying a lot, but it's gonna be a little bit more insightful in terms of like the nitty-gritty of what happened, and also how I'm doing after, how I'm healing. So more of like the aftermath. So apologies if you guys follow me on all of my platforms. I may be saying a lot of the same things, but anyways, let's get into it. So basically, I met this person in college. We met, I think 2021. I was a sophomore when I met him, sophomore or junior. And college is just a different time. You know, like I was originally attracted to him because he was an athlete just like me. If y'all know, I played volleyball in college. At the time, I did not want a relationship, y'all. Like, I did not want a relationship at all. But he kind of just swept me on my feet. Like, he was so sweet, so supportive. I think we both provided things that we needed that we have never really received from another person. So, like, just kind of the way I showed love, the way he received love, the way he showed love, it just was perfect. Like, I was at the cute little game day stuff for football, and we would always be by each other. Like, we were kind of inseparable. And all throughout college, it was just like fun, laughs. We didn't really face any real adversity. I would say the only adversity we faced was like in the very beginning, just like with the whole not wanting to be in a relationship, trying to navigate that stuff. And then he kind of had like a difficult ex. I don't want to ever call anybody crazy because you never know what people went through that are making them react how they reacted, but it was a lot with her. And that was pretty much the only adversity we faced for like the first 2 years. Then you guys, and this is something I didn't speak on TikTok, but he actually went to the NFL, got on injury reserve, y'all. We were doing our relationship the whole entire time he was on injury reserve. I would be in New Orleans every single week. Like, everything was great. It was really, really great. It was really, really great just having him close. I ultimately decided I wanted to move to Houston. I always knew that I wanted to move back to Houston, and even when I was out there, I was like, I'm only gonna be out here for 2 years and then I'll move. But it was kind of hard because he was now in New Orleans and I was in Mobile. But still, and I will say this is the first little token of advice: you do not make moves for a man unless that is your fiance, husband. Fiance, that's still even pushing it, but I'll take it. I'll accept it. I'm not gonna stay in a place where I'm technically not happy. Like, he was making me happy being there, like us together. But that city is not where I wanted to be. I knew that I couldn't get to where I wanted to go in life in Mobile, Alabama. So I still made plans to move. We were just gonna have to do long distance, figure it out. I don't care, I'm moving. We're not engaged. I'm not gonna make a decision to stay in the city. So people thought I was crazy. I remember we went to a Christian athletic conference and all the girls there were like uprooting their lives and moving for these men. And so when I told, it was right around the time, it was like in March, I think. It was right around the time I was telling people that I was about to move to Houston because I already had kind of like the move solidified. And they were like, wait, but he's in New Orleans. He's like, so you're moving? And I'd be like, yeah, yes. Why is that so hard for y'all to believe? Like, it's okay. When he proposes to me, we'll figure it out then. But so yeah, I still have plans to move to Houston. Literally the day before I was supposed to move, the Saints fired all their coaches and ended up cutting my ex. And it was horrible. I think that situation is so unfair. Honestly, it's taught me so much about like the industry and football, and like it's just a lot. Like, it's a lot that normal people don't know about, like the contracts and how they work and all that stuff. And it's just really unfair, really highly volatile. And yeah, it was just a lot. So that happened. His mom is in Houston. That happened. He's also from Houston, or not from Houston, but he lived in Houston in high school, so his mom is here, everything like that. So it just made sense for him to also come back to Houston. His lease was up in May. I moved to Houston in April. It just made sense. So he ends up coming to Houston, and we did not live together. I'll make that clear because I feel like some people thought we lived together since we were always together or whatever, but no, we didn't live together. He had his place. And yeah, I feel like from March to really like June and July, us dealing with that adversity, we were forced to have deeper conversations about what we really wanted in life. And I kind of started realizing, like, I don't know if we want the same things out of life. Like, I think a person can say that, but if you see like their actions or like what they're comfortable with, it kind of opens your eyes to like, hey, maybe you don't want the same things as me, and that's okay. But if it's always me initiating these things and you never really initiating these things, something's not adding up here, right? Anyways, that like NFL story, I don't want to get into all of that because it's not my business or my place to say, but I will just say that that was kind of the vehicle to allowing me to see how he handles adversity and like different situations and things like that. And I feel like there were certain times where I maybe wasn't equipped to have the level of patience or understanding or different things, and I can admit that with him and with that journey, because I mean, I played volleyball in college, but there's nothing, I will say that that was such a unique journey. Like, there's very few people that will understand like the highs and the lows and like what he's going through, but I did try my best to pray with him, stay supportive and stay patient. Yeah. So I think for me and how I view relationships, like, of course I don't mind, like, I'm never going to leave somebody when they're at their worst. I'm never going to just be so quick to switch up and move on and like discard somebody. I am going to be patient, and that's why I feel like I was so comfortable in my decision, because not only did I talk to him and tell him, but I was patient. Like, I waited, we did the check-ins, we did the communicating, we did the blah blah blah, and that's why I started to see like, okay, his words are saying one thing, but the actions are saying another. But ultimately, I had to see what was right in front of me. I spent months and months and months believing that we wanted the same thing, waiting and waiting and waiting. But after a point, you just kind of get tired of waiting. I will say this, because I don't want to harp on his negative parts. I want to basically talk about the partner that I want. The partner that I want just wasn't aligning with the partner that he was and was going to be. And I feel like as a strong, dominant woman, I feel like somebody that will lead the situation, somebody that is proactive with their life and not necessarily reactive with their life, somebody that's super ambitious, you know, all of those things. I also want somebody that's God-fearing, somebody that is emotional and sweet and sensitive. And he was those things. I have to tell myself, yes, I have a man that is God-fearing, sweet, loves me. I never have to worry about him cheating. I never, ever, ever have had a girl come to me as a woman and all those things. I think he was amazing. He was amazing to my family. Like, there have been so many times where he's done beautiful things for me. Like, my family loved him, my little brothers loved him, my mom loves him. He was just great. He was the sweetest person, and that's why I say he will be a great, great husband to somebody else. But I had to tell myself, okay, why do I have, like, I'm a firm believer of I don't have to choose. Yeah, all those things are great, but if you're not providing X, Y, and Z, then I can't excuse X, Y, and Z because you're providing ABC. You know what I mean? Like, I will be able to find ABC, X, Y, and Z. You know? That's a lot of letters, but y'all know what I mean. Like, yes, he's doing those things, but the person that God has for me is not somebody where I'm gonna feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick in some aspects. You know, like, there are certain things that I'm not gonna be so nitpicky about. Like, certain things are like, that's not ideal, but that's not like part of my non-negotiables. No, there were certain things about our relationship that I noticed that were part of my non-negotiables, and if I would have accepted it, it would have been considered me settling. And he doesn't deserve a woman that's gonna feel like she's settling, and I don't deserve to have a man where I feel like I'm settling. You know what I mean? So people have different sets of non-negotiables. Like I said, there's gonna be a woman out there where he checks every single box and her non-negotiables are being met. Mine just weren't. So that's all I want to say about that. I wish him the absolute best. I still think he's an amazing person. Unfortunately, we cannot be in contact. I'm gonna get into that later in like the healing process. I'll get into that later in this video. But just know that there's no ill will. There's no ill will. I don't think he's a horrible person. I think that it is okay to have somebody that you love, that cares about you, that loves you, that just maybe isn't for you. And it's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to take your future very seriously. I think it's okay for people to realize that you can have everything that you deserve and everything that you desire. And I'll say this, another thing that helped me was realizing like what I'm asking for, I'm providing for myself. The overall scope, without saying too much, was stability insecurity. And that's why I said I don't want to let anybody sink the ship with me in it, because I provided that for myself and I'm comfortable with that myself. If I get with a partner, if I get engaged to somebody, they also need to be providing that in their own life for themselves, so that way when we merge our lives, I can feel secure. You know what I mean? It was more so like actions and working towards goals and different things like that, and how he approached it versus how I would approach it. And in a partnership, you need people that would approach those things the same. So yeah, just understanding that I'm not asking for too much, and the love is great, but the love is not enough. So yeah, you love me, yeah, you're loyal. I don't want to take any of those things for granted, because there's a lot of people who are in loveless, unloyal marriages. Those are important. That is very important to me too. What was also important to me, like I said, is that stability, that security, the fact that we're equally yoked, we're both ambitious, we're both proactive, and at the same level. Because I feel like people got misconstrued because they're like, you just called him ambitionless, I'm like, no, I didn't. I just don't think that it's equal levels. So his ambition, his proactiveness, all that stuff will work for somebody else. Now I'll reiterate this, because I did say, and I'll reiterate this, we were supposed to be, so let's say everything went smoothly, like with him still being in the NFL, still having like a steady income, steady job, we were supposed to be getting engaged later that year. So I moved to Houston in March. We planned to kind of get engaged by like November, December. So when he ended up moving to Houston in March, it's kind of like, okay, we still want to keep this track. I at least still want to keep this track. So we kind of have to figure it out, because there's certain situations where it just doesn't make sense to be engaged. And I feel like that's okay if that's temporary. But if you allow yourself to stay in that situation for months and months and months, it's kind of like, what's really important to you? You can say these things are important to you, but your actions are shown different. But as far as like having a plan, and I said this, and I'm a firm believer of this, a man that does not have a plan for you is not your man. So I think a lot of times women are afraid to pose the question of, well, what's next? Or, well, what's your plan? And all these things. But you gotta know. Don't wait and wait and wait and wait. And then you look up and he never really wanted what you wanted, but you never really asked. You know what I mean? It felt like y'all had a mutual understanding, and then now your time is wasted. So I'm gonna ask. And I'm not even gonna just ask, but I'm gonna observe. Like, okay, you say you want to marry me, but yet you're not doing this, this, and that. You say you want this, but yet you're not doing this, and that. Just all those things, I feel like they weren't really aligned with mine. And since we were in such close proximity, I kind of got to see his day-to-day. I got to see the things that he prioritized, and it just wasn't desirable for somebody that I would want to be my partner. And I don't mean this in a like terrible way, like he went shit and blah blah blah, because I think that his day-to-day, his effort level, his ambition will work for somebody. Like, I think that there's a beautiful girl out there that will accept, and this is not, I promise this is not me being condescending at all, but I just think like, I'm not shitting on his effort level, his da-da-da by any means. It just wasn't a match for mine, and I think that is completely okay. I also don't want to be wanting something for somebody else and they don't want that for themselves, and they're only doing it for me or the things that I'm asking. I feel like as my partner, I would kind of want you to want those things on your own, but you don't, and that's okay. But it's not fair for me to be trying to pull that out of you, if that makes sense. So I put these nails on this morning to try to like have some nails, some press on nails to do content, and they're like popping off while I'm talking, so I'm gonna glue those on. So if y'all see me talking, I'm missing nails, just know that's why. What was I saying? I was saying certain things are not gonna reveal themselves until you go through certain stuff. That's why I do think you have to go through a little bit of adversity before you get married and dedicate your life to this person. I can't really say if we outgrew each other or if things just presented themselves that couldn't have ever presented themselves given the situation. Like, the situation that we were in allowed certain things to happen. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful I got to see this before getting married or getting engaged. I'm grateful I had discernment enough to leave. Just know that I deserve somebody that I feel like was gonna meet my standards. I deserve somebody who wants the same things out of life as me. He deserves somebody to be patient and to accept him how he is and not require change to make it work. Like, it was only gonna work if stuff changed, and I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. Your best is not enough for me, and that's not fair to him. So I think he deserves somebody that his best is enough. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. But let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into my healing, how I'm processing things, what my dating life is like now. So yes, you guys, it is currently January 23rd. I believe we broke up on November 19th, November 15th, something around those lines. And it's been about 2 months. I have some thoughts about the healing process, about dating, and I really want to get into all that. You know, how I'm doing, how I'm healing, my dating life. We'll get into that. But let's take a quick break for our auditory sensory folks that don't just want to listen to me ramble. So BRB.
Can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus on me? Hands in the soap, how the faucet's running and I keep looking at you. Stuck on your phone, like stuck in your zone. You don't ever, but I don't wanna give up. Baby, I just want you to get up. Lately I've been a little fed up. Wish you would just focus on me. Can you focus on me?
Okay, y'all, let's get back into it. I just had an amazing bath. I feel so relaxed. I feel so calm. Let's get into the second half. I want to really talk about the actual breakup and healing and how I'm doing and just some of the things, like the tangible tools that have helped me. So I don't even know where to jump back in, but basically the actual breakup that happened, without giving too many details, that's like my whole theme. I want to share enough to help, but I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty and be messy and just overshare. I'm already oversharing, but you know what I mean. So we had a lot of different conversations leading up to the actual breakup, and I think that a lot of the feedback that I've gotten or the questions is like, how did you know, and how did you know it was the right thing to do, and blah blah blah. I truly feel like when you know, good and bad. You know how they say when you know, like you found your love of your life. When you know it's not the love of your life, you know as well. Like, it goes both ways. I just knew that the decision was kind of already made. Now I just have to do the super hard thing. And when I tell you that was the hardest thing I've ever in my life had to do. That was the hardest week. Just that whole situation was just very gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. And there's so many times I wanted to like turn around and be like, well, never mind, let's work it out. But I knew that that wasn't the best thing for both of us. I feel like I never truly understood what people meant when they said your head versus your heart. Like, that just never made sense to me. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they're both a part of you. How can they be misaligned? Blah, blah, blah. Until this situation, I never understood it. Now I understand it completely. And this was a situation of my head saying, no, remove yourself. This is not the situation for you. And my heart being like, well, I just love him so much. I just want to stay and we can work it out. Literally, my heart telling me to stay, my head telling me to leave. And some people will say, follow your heart. I personally don't think I should have to choose between my head and my heart, because your head and your heart should be aligned. You know what I mean? Like, there was a point in time for 4 years where my head and my heart were aligned. But as soon as it gets misaligned, to me, that's a problem within itself. I don't need to choose between either or. Like, they're both a part of me. They should both be on the same page. I should have to choose. You know what I mean? So that told me everything I need to know right there. Because how can I fully choose my heart and lead with my heart when I have all of these things and thoughts and doubts going on in my head that just would never make sense? You know what I mean? I think that was the hardest part of the breakup. My heart wanted me to stay and my head kept telling me to leave. So I literally had to suppress those feelings, suppress those urges, suppress the, oh, let's work it out, let's do this. Because as much as I wanted to, I knew it just was going to put me back in a cycle that just wasn't going to be healthy for my future self. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was hard. Definitely hard. I definitely felt a lot of guilt. I think when you have a long-term relationship, you're not just mourning like the person. Like, of course I miss him and like the things we used to do and like him as a person, but then there's also the whole other intricacy of like the future that you guys built together. So you're also mourning that entire future and like everything that you had in your head and like the near future and the far future. That was really difficult to kind of like change my day-to-day and just have such an abrupt change, like somebody that you've done every single thing with for so long and that you've integrated into your life for so long. It was very difficult to like understand that that's not what's happening anymore. You know what I mean? However, I will say, people will always ask like, how do you prevent yourself from just being so, because I was heartbroken, but I was able to pull myself out of it and I was able to still enjoy life and just not be like completely broken. Like, I was heartbroken, but I was not broken. And I think the way to prevent yourself from not being broken is by like, it starts far before the breakup. It starts when you're in that relationship. You cannot lose yourself in a relationship. I promise you cannot. That is the worst thing to do, and that will leave you so empty, so down and out. I had parts of me that broke off and needed repairs, but I wasn't broken. I was empty. You know what I mean? Because I had that foundation while I was in that relationship. So never once did I say, oh, so sorry girls, I'm hanging with my man tonight. Sorry, I know we made plans, but I'm canceling those plans. I want to be with my man. Never once did I quit hobbies and experiences and opportunities that I like to do for a man or for that relationship. Never once did I let that relationship dictate my decision making or like take me away from something I wanted to do. There's a point in our relationship where it was getting to the point where like I was having a great time, he was having a great time, and we were pretty much like, I wouldn't say we were living together, but he was over pretty much every day when he had his own apartment, and I was kind of like, and it got to a point where I felt like I was slipping on content and just working out, even like all my routines were kind of slipping because I was in Google Gaga Love Land, and I had to take a step back and be like, hey, hard conversation, but I love you, but we need to maybe tone this back. We need to start some sort of plan and structure. I do sometimes need my me time. Maybe let's take it down to like 3 to 4 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, you know, whatever works. Allowing myself boundaries still when I'm in a relationship, and the person that you are with should love you and accept that and be willing to work with you. They shouldn't be so controlling of your identity and your time that you lose yourself, and you shouldn't allow yourself to lose yourself in that relationship. So I think that helped too. Like, although that part of my life was going through turmoil, I still had opportunities. Literally the week after we broke up, I went on a brand trip, right? So it was like, yeah, I could be sad, but I can't just stay sad and be woe is me, because I still have a life outside of this relationship. You know, like, the relationship was a part of my life, it wasn't my life. A man is a part of my life, but he's not my whole life. I think that's where people get heartbroken, because they allow that to take up too many spaces. You're allowing a man in a relationship to dip into every single box of your life. You should have some stuff that you just do with the girls, okay? You should have some stuff that you just do by yourself, with your mom, whatever the case is. You know, like, until that is your husband, and even then, you know, but until that's your husband and y'all merging your lives, you need to have your separate life, he has his separate life, y'all can have parts of y'all's lives that you combine and but you still need to have your own autonomy, your own identity. And I think I did a pretty good job at that. So when we did break up, there wasn't a huge void in my life. Also, it helped in my healing phase, and I'll keep in mind, y'all, I'm still in my healing phase, still have struggle points, still working through it. Every day is like day by day. I don't know when I'll be able to say like I'm not going through a breakup anymore. Like, I don't know when I'll not be going through a breakup. Like right now, I feel like I'm still kind of going through a breakup in a sense, because it's been what, like 3 months, 2 months. But yeah, doing things that works for me and not allowing like societal norms or whatever to dictate how I moved on from the situation. So for instance, people will say, oh, don't check his page, that's weak-minded, or don't do this, don't do that, don't talk about it, talk about it. People will say all kinds of things. You just have to figure out what works for you and what will keep you from being in that cycle. So for me, being in the cycle was texting him, calling him, still having communication with him. And once I realized like my mind isn't changing, I'm set, I'm comfortable with my decision, I'm at peace with it, there's no reason for like there to be any communication. Unfortunately, that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because like I said, there's no bad blood, there's no hate in my heart. You know, I wish him all the best and still have a lot of love for him. But once you realize that the cycle, that you're putting yourself in an unhealthy cycle, you're not setting boundaries, you have to start taking matters into your own hands, and that's what I did. So yeah, like for me, I'm gonna be completely honest, I had a hard time not reaching out, because I was like, dang, I want to make sure this person's okay, I don't hate them, like, you know, that type of thing. I also feel like I selfishly wanted a little bit of access, like knowing, okay, yeah, like it's over, but like there's still a itch or possibility there. Like, I still want to kind of keep my foot in the situation. And I think that was because I was letting feelings of sadness take over and make me feel a little bit of regret, when in reality I didn't feel regret. I felt very comfortable in my situation, I felt very comfortable in my decision, and my mind wasn't changing. But sometimes when you're sad and it's nighttime, or you know, you're thinking about it too much, you can start to let doubt trickle in. With anything, if you think about anything for too long, doubt sets in, you know what I mean? So it was things like that, and I had to realize, no, you made your decision, there's a reason you made your decision, you're stuck with your decision, you're not wavering on it. Yes, you miss him, but it's okay to miss him, and also, like, two things can be true at once. You can miss him, but not want to be in that situation anymore. You don't have to miss him, and then because you miss him, it's time to come back. No, that's just not the case. So for me, no contact was the best option. Just on both parties, like how we handle situations, the residual feelings that were still there. No contact was the best thing I could have done for moving on from the situation. So for me, whatever I needed to do to stay no contact, I did. So if I needed to check his page instead of texting him, I checked that page on my fake account. If I needed to tell my best friend, hey girl, I miss him, I want to text him, I did that. If I needed to, I don't know, look at an old picture and delete it, whatever the case is, whatever I needed to do to stay no contact, that's what I did. And that's what I would recommend for anybody out there that's going through a breakup. Do what you need to do to not get yourself in that cycle again. I think a lot of times too, we can lie to ourselves. I know I lie to myself a lot, saying that, oh, I'm just reaching out just to see if he's okay, or oh, I'm just reaching out because we need to have another talk because I think after this talk I'll have closure. And no, you just want to keep yourself in that situation, Kendall. You're not trying to get closure. And that's when I realized closure comes from acceptance, not communication. I've said this before. I kept trying to say, oh, we need to communicate, oh, we need to do this, or oh, if I say this, I need to make sure I say it, everything, blah, blah, blah. No, babe, you don't. You need to accept that the situation is what it is. It's no longer what it was, and you need to be comfortable with that, and you need to make the steps to move on. There's no amount of talking and conversations and saying the right things and apologizing and the tears and the hugs, and there's no amount of that will give you a closure if you haven't accepted the situation for what it is. And that's what I realized. I literally had to accept this is over. The outcome is going to be the outcome. And I kind of felt crazy because I'm like, why are you like going back and forth when you're the one that made this decision? You know, like, why are you so uncomfortable and blah, blah, blah for a little bit of time? But it was because I was still processing my feelings. I think everybody should take the time to process their feelings, because if you don't process your feelings, you're going to start to get them misconstrued for stuff that it isn't. So yeah, like I said, feelings of missing turn into feelings of regret and blah, blah, blah. Process them, let yourself feel them, be sad, and you will have clarity. I promise. I don't want to say be sad, but you kind of do. Like, you have to go through it, like, to get to the other side. Don't go through it and be sad and try to do stuff, Lord, and try to do stuff that alleviates your sadness. No, feel it. It's going to suck. It's going to suck really, really bad, but you'll be okay, you know? I think the main thing that I struggled with, and once I accepted this, I accepted the situation. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and everybody's thing that they struggle with may be different. My thing that I struggled with is this was a pure love. This was a loyal love. This was a love that my family enjoyed too, and you know, this was somebody that I had laughs with. This is somebody that fit my physical description. This is somebody that, all of the things, like, everything was great. This was somebody that we had so many great qualities, all of the things, but this and this didn't line up. So I'm like, am I gonna find all that other stuff again? Like, am I throwing away a once-in-a-lifetime love? Like, am I making a mistake? Am I gonna be lonely for the rest of my life? And blah, blah, blah. What helped me combat that is honestly spending time with God, honestly talking to God, understanding that he wants me to be happy. He wants me to have all the things of my heart's desires, and also understanding that I prayed for clarity. I prayed for discernment. I prayed for all these things, and this wasn't just an abrupt thing that happened. And also just understanding, like, this wouldn't be on my heart so heavy if this was a situation where I was supposed to be in. God will make you so uncomfortable when you're not supposed to be somewhere. And I was uncomfortable for months. You know what I mean? Like, not at peace for months. And really just paying attention. Like, when I say, and this is the hardest thing to explain, but I was sad, I was embarrassed, like telling my family and blah, blah, blah. I was heartbroken, but I was still at peace in a weird way. Like, a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders of knowing, like, okay, I made this decision. I'm comfortable with this decision. This is the right decision. Like, if I'm at peace, it's the right decision. The sadness, the embarrassment, all the things, the confusion, all that will go away. The peace is when it's there from the beginning. That's when you know you made the right decision. Like, all of those other feelings, we can work through that. You know, I could be sad one day, happy the next. Those are like fleeting things, you know, but the peace was something that lasted. So that was really, really helpful once I realized that. I also think understanding that just because this is like a nice guy and a good guy doesn't mean that he's the guy for me. Also understanding that, because keep in mind, y'all, I went through dog after dog after dog before I got with this wholesome man. So that was in the back of my mind of, like, I think I kind of psychologically tricked myself into thinking, like, oh, I found this unicorn that's loyal and blah, 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 and treats me good. That is the bare minimum. Unfortunately, it's not common, but it's the bare minimum. Being loyal, not having self-control and discipline, and not messing with everything that you see, and having respect, that's the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like, I was putting that on such a high pedestal as if it's like the golden star. Like, that is the bare minimum. So I understand, like, sometimes our realities can dictate, like, in our head, but I promise you, somebody being respectful to you and loyal to you and all that stuff is the bare minimum. I'm not saying he did bare minimum stuff, like he did a lot of stuff that was not the bare minimum, but I'm saying those things that were sticking out in my head that I was so hung up on, like, oh, he's loyal, I never had to worry about it. Like, yeah, I'm having to worry about this, and we're arguing about this, and I'm stressed about this, but I never had to worry about a girl, or blah, blah, blah. You know what? That doesn't make it any better. So yeah, that's how I felt about that. And once I realized, I was like, okay. And I think another thing was, yeah, granted, I may not ever find, let's say I never find love. I'm delusional, I don't believe in that. I think I'm definitely gonna find love again, God willing. But let's say I never do. I break up with him, I never find love, whoop-de-doo, I like live a lonely cat lady, whatever. That is a possibility. However, if I were to stay in that situation, feeling how I felt, I for sure wouldn't have got the future and all that stuff that I wanted if I would have stayed, because everything was right in front of my face telling me that the future that I want is not aligned with the situation that I'm in. So I could leave, take a chance, and have faith and put my trust into God that he's removing this and he'll bless me with something better for me. I don't want to say better, but better for me. Or I could stay in this situation, ignore the signs, be complacent, and definitely not get the future that's aligned with what I want. It was a matter of, okay, maybe whatever, there's a small percentage, or for sure stay. Like, you can't stay in stuff out of fear of the what ifs. And that's kind of where I was at. Like, okay, what if? But I mean, shoot, I don't live my life off of what ifs, you know? And also just realizing, like, yeah, this is a love that's pure and that's nice, but it's also not a love that's suited for me. But please don't be scared to not find love or somebody that loves you or blah, 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 blah. If they love you, but this, and that ain't correct, then that's not worth clinging on to that shred of love, and you don't have all the other stuff in your non-negotiables. You know what I mean? Love is a non-negotiable, loyalty is non-negotiable, ambition, all that stuff I talked about earlier pretty much. So yeah, I had to get that out of my head. I can't worry about that. I couldn't worry about that. I only could worry about what was in front of me, and what was in front of me was giving me the discernment and telling me that this wasn't the situation for me. Just to say where I'm at now, I currently am not dating. I don't know when I'm gonna date and like go on dates with guys, or like talk to somebody seriously and just like put myself back out there. I have been truly enjoying just my me time and working on myself and just growing and seeing, you know, the parts of me that maybe I need to work on, and seeing parts of me that I can invest more in, and just different things. Like, I have been loving it. I'm about to start learning Spanish. I've been going on walks. I've been going to my trainer more often, eating better. I've been starting cooking again and reading, and like basically all the things that I was doing, but I'm just able to invest more time in them. Spending more time with my friends, of course, my mom, traveling more. It's just been great. I'm not gonna lie. A man just does not sound desirable right now. Like, it's about to be Valentine's Day. My girls and I already have a table booked. And I don't know, I also think like 25-year-old me and just like my frontal lobe developing, I don't know, say what you want about the frontal lobe, but for me, I do see a little bit of a difference. However, I think the old me was very, very big on like, oh, life is short, I'm young, I'm cute, jumping out of a relationship, get a new man, I'll be on a date by tomorrow, whatever. Like, how to get over somebody is to get under somebody. That's how I used to be, not literally under, but you know what I mean? Like, get a new man, what one man won't do the next, blah, 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 immediately. Now, I still share some of those same sentiments, but I do think now that you should take the time to heal and know yourself, and you shouldn't be jumping from one situation to another, to another, to another, because I do think that there's a void that you're trying to fill when you do that, and you're filling it the unhealthy way, when you could be filling it the healthy way and taking time. Now, one of those ways is going to be more lonely, it's going to hurt, it's going to be more painful, but in the long run, you will be better for it. So what I mean by that, yeah, do I want to have somebody to FaceTime with, or go on a date, or like some eye candy, or somebody to flirt with, or take my mind off of it? Heck yeah. But am I going to do that? No, because I just feel like that would be masking the feelings that I feel. I need to allow myself to process them, to feel them, and also recognizing like it's okay to be by yourself. Everything that a man could do for you, you could do for yourself. I'm not gonna lie. Like all of the things that you would potentially be losing, I guess, like the companionship, the dates, the adventure, the spontaneity, the love, the affection. You can give yourself love. You can give yourself, go on solo dates. You can enjoy your own company. You don't need somebody else's companion all the time. You can have adventure on your own. Like all of these things you can have on your own and get to know yourself. Now, does that mean just be alone forever and it's gonna be horrible and now you're just stuck? No, but I promise you should be able to be by yourself and be okay with that. You shouldn't have to use somebody else as like a crutch to avoid your feelings or like to make you happy or all these things. That's just not healthy. And that just comes with not putting all of your happiness, peace, spontaneity, adventure eggs into somebody else's basket. You can put a little bit in there, but keep some in your own basket. So when it's time to pull out of your own basket, when they're not there, you have some to pull from, okay? So, and that's just like the famous saying, if you give somebody the power to feed you and they have all of your food, all your resources, you give them the power to starve you. So you can give somebody the power to give you a little snack. The snack being, oh, the fun time and the love and the affection and blah, blah, blah. But you still have your own stash within you. And the only way to have your own stash is to tap into that own stash. So that's my take on just being at peace. And I think a lot of times, like, people don't realize how amazing it is, but you're never gonna realize if you don't allow yourself to feel it. Like, yeah, it may suck for a little bit, but the byproduct of the suckiness is at peace and happiness and all this stuff. Like, ideally on paper, I don't want to be by myself in my apartment. It just didn't sound appetizing or fun to like just do everything to just like be by myself and not wake up to somebody or not get that gratification from a guy or all these things. Like, it just didn't sound fun. I'm like, well, there's plenty of guys that can do that for me. However, once you get to that point where you allow yourself to do that for yourself and you go through it, you realize like, hey, this is not that bad. I actually like waking up in the morning and just being able to do my morning routine and not having to text a sweaty nasty man in the morning. Like, this is actually kind of nice. Who would have thought? So I promise, like, yeah, you may think that you're not strong enough, you may think that it's gonna hurt or be painful. Allow yourself to do it. Get to know yourself. Yeah, you're gonna hate spending time with yourself if you don't know her, because you don't know what she likes. That's like spending time with a long lost aunt that you've never met. It's gonna feel like, oh, I'm ready to get this over with, we're gonna have to find stuff to talk about, blah 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 blah. But if you know her, if it's your auntie that you're cool with, that you love, it's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, if you don't know yourself, you don't allow yourself the time to know yourself, it's gonna be horrible. But get to know yourself, invest in her, love her, pour into her, and I promise you'll be okay. So yes, y'all, that is my spiel. That was a lot of transparency. This is a safe space. There's gonna be no judgment here. So keep it cute in the comments. Keep it cute in the comments. I know y'all will, but yeah, I hope that helps you, even if you're not going through that. If you are going through that, I'm sorry, girl. Unfortunately, if we do share similar stories, I'm so sorry. But if you're just watching this and, you know, maybe take some tokens for the future, I appreciate y'all listening and giving me a space to talk and share my story. Like I said in the beginning, I hope it resonates with some of you, and I hope you could take some advice and courage and strength from what I'm saying. And yeah, that's it. See you in the next one.